Hey now, it's Mike Gilbert, host of the Mike and JD Show, right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Join JD by God Oliva and myself every Thursday night live on the Voices of Wrestling YouTube channel at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we stay up all night discussing all the hottest stories in professional wrestling. You can also check us out right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting feed, or you can subscribe to the Mike and JD Show feed. Now, enjoy the show.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love star. 손 안 넘을 거리. Whoa, 君へ片想い。涙の失恋。Scooby-Doo, give me five, give me that one, try to sign.
You're listening to the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Welcome to episode 64 of the Emerald Flow Show. We're a podcast on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, and you can follow us on X at Emerald Flow Show. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review, and you can find us on all of your favorite podcasting apps. And if you're like me, you're using new podcasting apps because Google Podcasts went away. And if you're feeling generous, you can go to voicesofwrestling.com/donate to donate to the show. I'm Gerard here with Paul. And Paul, unfortunately, we have to start off with some sad news.
Yeah. So it actually just happened, I think 2 days ago, was it? That the news at least came out. It might have been yesterday, actually, yeah. But yeah, Bad Bones John Klinger, who was a stalwart of the German wrestling scene, passed away suddenly at the age of 40. Apparently it was a heart attack. Happened just he just had a match like a couple of days ago as well against like Flash Morgan Webster in Poland. And yeah, seems like he was just at home and just had a heart attack and died, unfortunately. He was actually supposed to, he was actually planning to retire in September as well. So yeah, just a really big shame. But I feel like the reason I wanted to touch on it is because if it's at least these kinds of like tragedies give us a bit of opportunity, kind of like shine a light, I think, on like some like forgotten like kind of runs in Japan, right? Because we kind of did something like that as well when Jay Briscoe died, and we kind of talked about the Briscoes' run in Noah, which don't think a lot of people really talk about all that much, and I think we kind of have something a bit similar with Bad Bones as well. Wasn't really a very long run, but he did have a run with Big Japan in the early 2010s. And he actually made it all the way to a Strong Climb semifinal in 2012, where he lost against Daisuke Sekimoto. So that entire show is floating out there somewhere. We know it has been recorded. Unfortunately, we don't really know where to find it. We think we're both kind of going to be looking for it and seeing kind of what the matches are like. But it's yeah, he was a very, very good wrestler, and I feel like him against 2012 Daisuke Sekimoto probably was a very good match.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know, did you see any like Japanese wrestlers express any condolences or anything? Any of the big names?
I haven't seen anything yet. I wouldn't be shocked if there were. I mean, he just had a match. I mean, the last ever match I saw with him live was last month against Taishi Ozawa
Okay.
in GWF. Yeah, where he actually like he was actually the like record holding like GWF champion. Like he like held that title for the longest time ever. Like it's been a while now since he felt the title, but still he was like a big deal in the promotion and everything. And he actually lost to Taishi Ozawa. Like he actually put him over. And yeah, maybe of the people that are
is
in
that
Europe
match
are
on
more like
YouTube?
connected to Europe. That match, yeah, I'm pretty sure that match is on YouTube. Yeah.
So yeah, you could definitely check that out.
Yeah, so that's something you can watch where like him with like it's very much like a veteran versus rookie match, because obviously like Klinger is like the big veteran, like the record champion and all of that, and like former ace of the promotion essentially. And yeah, but in the end, like he lost to Taishi Ozawa, which probably was one of his like biggest singles wins, I think, of his career to date.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, you can go and check that one out.
All right. Maybe we'll, if we can find those matches, maybe we'll talk about them on the next episode.
Yeah, because I looked at it as well, the run. There are some interesting matches in there, like him versus Kazuki Hashimoto. I would be interested to see him versus
Yeah,
Shinobu, actually.
that 2012 actually is like when Big Japan starts to get real good. I think like Ryuichi Kawakami debuts about that time. Yoshihiro Sasaki joins Big Japan, maybe not in 2012, maybe just slightly earlier, but by 2012, that strong division starts really cooking.
Yeah. And like the fact that they like put him all the way into the semifinal, I think is like a big or was like a big show of trust as well. Who knows why it like didn't turn into like any kind of semi-permanent thing? I mean, it might as very well have been.
Well, I mean,
didn't want to like do the Japan trips and all of that. Yes.
Well, also Big Japan will go like long periods of time and not book any foreigners.
Yes, that too. Like they do go a bit xenophobic for like a little bit at least, or for like long periods of times, but like no foreigners
And
allowed.
he also like on the Big Japan Gaijin scale, he's like one of the more normal ones.
Yes, actually, because so we looked at the final show just before we started recording. Adam Cole, like baby Adam Cole, is in the opener of that show. Sammy Callahan is in the other semi-final of the tournament, and then I think DJ Hyde is in the like semi-main event.
So yeah, it was like obviously a CZW connection type thing.
I mean, that was actually like they actually had like these like triangle shows in Germany that were like CZW, Big Japan, and WXW, because WXW like way back when they started was actually a deathmatch promotion.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
it actually
right.
like the X stands for extreme.
Yeah,
like the actual full name is Westside Extreme Wrestling. So like then they haven't been that for a long time, but that's where like those like connections were made originally.
Mm-hmm. All right, so best wishes to his family and friends, and very sad.
Yeah. I think he had children as well, and
like that. Oh, just horrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
All right, Paul. Moving on to something else that may or may not be depressing. On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you that the Japanese wrestling scene is going to collapse after this Cyberfight press conference?
Like the entire scene? Like
Sure,
the entire scene? I don't know.
scene.
Like a 2?
Yeah, that's how I feel. Maybe a 1 or a 2.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'm sure you've heard by now that obviously, like, Cyberfight held a press conference. They've got a new president whose name escapes me right now. I don't know, nor have I done any speculation of why Takagi was bumped from that. I mean, maybe he didn't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Paul?
I mean, he's also going on like a hiatus of wrestling as well, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot that.
So
Yasuaki Okamoto is the new president, and he is a legitimate wrestling fan, to be fair to him.
he was? Oh, okay. I didn't actually know that one because I had the feeling that he was like the guy just below. It was like basically just like the next guy up, essentially, and that he was like basically getting prepared by Takagi for like the first couple of years of Cyberfight, and is now taking over. That he like properly understands the wrestling world. But
Right. Well,
if
I mean,
if he is like a
fan.
proper wrestling fan, then
Yeah. And then it was obviously like groomed by the cyber agents to take over, I think, eventually.
Yeah. I mean, to be
Probably.
fair, I mean, I guess that works out really well if you get like a guy in there that A, has like the proper background and is a fan. I think that is a good sign. Right? Because
Yeah,
you don't want
definitely.
like someone to take over that doesn't give a shit about wrestling. Like that would be bad for like the entire thing.
Yes. But he does want to work with WWE. So what do you make of this, Paul?
So, because like obviously, like immediately the things people brought up yet again, as they did like at the beginning of the year when we had the whole All Japan WWE quote unquote relationship.
Where'd
was
that go?
obviously yeah. Like it's almost like we predicted that was just like we got that 100% correct because we were like, this is just like William Regal getting his son a booking in Japan through Hideki Suzuki, and that's exactly what it turned out to be.
And now, well, we'll get to this later, but now they're working with someone else too.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, they do work with it. They do actually genuinely work with an American promotion now that is on national TV. That is a correct statement. No, but like the things people then immediately brought up were like WWE killing everyone in the US during like the Death of the Territories, and obviously kind of WWE coming in and just squashing the UK scene a couple of years ago. And I don't think those are fair comparisons because this is a very different situation. Because Cyberfight, not Cyberfight, but Cyber Agent, so the ultimate parent company, is a business partner of WWE. Like, Ibima holds the broadcasting rights for WWE in Japan. And now we don't know for how much longer, because from the way I understand this whole Netflix deal is that Netflix will eventually get all of the like outside US broadcasting rights for like everything, basically.
So they are, but I don't think that actually includes Japan for now.
Yeah,
So
because I was looking at that because the wording wasn't clear.
So Ibima is probably locked in beyond like January 2024.
Oh, absolutely, because they signed that contract last year. They signed that contract at the end as well of 2023. Like they signed that one, well, I think it was like November or October. There's no way that was just a 1-year contract.
No.
Like there's absolutely 0% chance that was just a 1-year contract. So they are a business partner of WWE's for the foreseeable future. So it doesn't. And what WWE ultimately is, WWE is not a wrestling company. WWE is a media rights company. Like what the main business of WWE is selling media rights. That's what they they produce content that they sell, and their main source of income is the revenue they get from the media rights deals for the content that they produce. That is their main line of business, not putting on wrestling matches.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense for them to come in and rate properties owned by their business partner, by their media rights partner in Japan, who presumably pays them a pretty penny. It doubly doesn't make sense for them to do that just to like also like looking at the track record of like Japanese wrestlers that they've brought in to like warehouse them in like Florida for like years.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this is WWE coming in to like sign like Kaito Kiyomiya and like Ryohei Oiwa and Taishi Ozawa and Yu Owada and like everybody.
Okay, but what about maybe Cyber Agent eventually wanting to unload Cyberfight to WWE because it's like, you know, a money hole or whatever?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could very well be the place. I mean, we did get the financials for Cyberfight from last year, right?
Yeah.
And the loss that they made was fairly minor. Like,
yes.
What was it
It's
again?
not
It was
money
like
hole, especially
it was like $1 million yen, right? So like 100,000 using like the old exchange rate, like dollars.
No, I think it was like, wasn't it more than that? Hold up.
I do think they actually got pretty close to like breaking. I don't think they were that far off from breaking even.
I have net income 2023 minus 104 million yen, which would be like $1 million.
Okay. I mean, that's not great, but also.
But
again,
let's look at Cyber. Yeah. Oh, that's not okay. I don't have more recent number for
Cyber Agent.
I mean, Cyber Agent, but Cyber Agent was posting profits of 30 billion yen in 2019.
Yes, exactly, and it's also you have to factor in that obviously Noah or Cyber Agent doesn't get any money for like the stuff they put on the Beamer. Yeah,
Beamer operating income 2024, probably just the fiscal quarter that. Like, because I think it doesn't go April to April in Japan or something, or March.
Yes,
to March or something.
Generally, yes.
So latest operating income for Abima is 24.8 billion yen.
21.8 billion. Yeah, so they're like a drop in the bucket. Let me see.
Yeah.
There they are. Financials.
No, wait, these numbers can't be right because their operating income is bigger than their revenue. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so total revenue for Cyber Agent as of the 30th of September 2023 was 720 billion yen. And
this is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Like, it's basically like as long as they just keep putting up like content for them, that does pretty well. I don't really foresee like Cyber Agent offloading, because you have to remember, like, also like in the like 1 million yen loss, you have to factor in that I would strongly assume Cyber Agent does not get paid for the stuff they put on a Beamer. I don't think like a Beamer, like, because why would they own them otherwise?
Yeah, it's like WCW.
Exactly, like, and you would presume they would at least get enough. They would at least get enough money. I would presume they would get more than $1 million from Cyber Agent per year to put their stuff on there.
Yeah, for sure.
So like factoring all of that in, like, I don't think there is a big danger of them offloading. Like, obviously with the last year's financials, we have to put in the asterisks that it did have the Muto like Dome show in there as well.
Yep.
But then it's like we don't actually like. Okay, as weird as that sounds, we don't actually know how much money they made off of that, because Dome shows are really expensive. They booked basically everybody. Those guys don't come cheap, and we also don't know what Muto's revenue split was. So I don't know how much money they actually made off of that show.
They probably sold a few on pay-per-view as well.
Yeah.
So
they definitely made money, but again, I don't really. Obviously, it's an option that it could just be that Cyber Agent will be like Cyber Agent will be like, hey, do you want to like buy this? But even then, like, do we think WWE is actually interested in that? Because it doesn't really look like they're currently interested in expanding internationally. And also, running a business in Japan is a fucking pain in the ass if you're an outside company.
Well, it can be done if you want to invest in it. Like, this idea that it can't be done is not true, but you have to like want to do it and provide the resources to do it.
Yes, especially like it goes doubly so if you do want to like compete with like local Japanese companies as well.
Yeah.
So obviously WWE, or rather TKO in this case, right? Because we shouldn't call it WWE, we should call it TKO. TKO obviously would have enough money for that. Like that's really kind of out of the question. But again, if you look at like the way like UFC operates as well, right? That's not what they do. Like, for example, they bought Pride and, well, they didn't buy, but you know what I mean? Like they kind of like bought a lot of the media rights or whatever, but they didn't really operate in Japan either. And
no. They wanted to, but they shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. And with Noah, like what even is there if you don't want to run it? Because Noah doesn't own any of the footage. Like the footage is owned by like maybe if Cyber Agent wants to sell them like the footage. But again, like WWE isn't even in the like acquiring footage business anymore. Because, well, they don't have a network. Like they're not really interested in archive footage anymore. That was, for example, one of the reasons why they came into Europe as well. When, like, yes, they did kind of kill the scene, but like the other thing they actually did all of those deals for to get like footage for the failing network. And they don't even have that anymore. Like, why would WWE buy Noah just to put shit on Netflix? Like, I don't think Netflix.
Let me ask you this, Paul, since you would know. I mean, obviously, we could talk about what happened in the UK, but did like WWE really hurt WXW at all?
A little bit. I mean, obviously, it's not ideal that they took like Walter and Ilya and Axel Dieter.
They could have taken them anyway.
Yes, they could have. I mean, it's like, again, it's not unrealistic that like those guys would have signed eventually with like big American companies either way. Right? Like that might, like, maybe the process just got expedited, but it probably would have happened eventually anyway. And then otherwise, I mean, WXW is just trucking along now. Like they're just doing what they've always been doing. Same with like that's the other thing. Obviously, WWE, with what they did when they like hoovered up all of the talent, like especially in the UK, they did a lot of damage to the scene. I think it's somewhat overstated the amount of damage that they did, because Progress was always kind of a giant on like feet of sand, basically, like feet of clay, right? Like that was always like a big, like trendy, like fad thing that always was going to end and run. Like it was already running out of steam, I would argue. It was already past its peak when like WWE came in. And then, I mean, Rev Pro's just kind of trucking along. Right? They actually, arguably, Rev Pro's doing better now than they were doing pre-pandemic. Just like looking at the size of shows that they're running. Like Speaking Out would have happened regardless of whether or not WWE would have gotten involved with the scene, which would have devastated the scene either way. Like, it's just that a lot of the people that were implicated in that just signed long-term deals with WWE so they could flee to the US to escape their fucking reputations.
Yes.
But those guys were going to sign anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't, like, obviously the ones that they did is like, they killed like the scene back in the territory days, but like that was 40 years ago in a very different like situation as well.
Yep.
So I don't think that's comparable in any way, shape, or form. Like obviously it could, like obviously like if in like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, like Noah is just closed down or like rate. Yeah, but here's the thing, like even if they rate Noah, could they actually like put the promotion in a worse spot than they were 5 years ago?
That's also a very good point. But
see, like Noah was already at the bottom. It's not that, like, wasn't that long ago.
Well, yeah, and who they take Kiyomiya maybe?
Yeah.
That's it. Like, who would they? They're not going to use KENOH. They're not Wagner.
No.
Maybe
Wagner. I think is actually like. But again, do you think WWE coming in like is gonna impact whether or not Wagner eventually will sign with him? Like because the other point I'm trying to make here, right? Like it's not gonna, like maybe it's gonna impact which major US promotion they're gonna sign. But it's not
Sure.
going to change the fact that like Wagner eventually is going to sign a big deal with a like major US company. And quite frankly, I don't give a shit if it's with AEW or like WWE, because I don't really watch either of them. So they're just gone either way for me.
Right.
Like same with Jack Morris, right? Like Jack Morris eventually will be on US national TV.
Oh, I could absolutely see Jack Morris in WWE, even if they never do anything in Japan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Like especially because they have such a bigger, like from signing everybody in the UK, they have such a bigger, like they have so much more connections there, and they have Regal and all of that. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if they've already like put out some feelers for him.
yeah. And in terms of the native talent, I just don't see anyone beyond Kiyomiya.
No, yeah, because I'm even trying to think like because most of the other ones are too old to not established enough
Too
yet. Because
old.
that might change when they get more established, but like otherwise, I
Yeah.
don't know. They're not gonna sign Ulka Sasaki.
No, they're not going to. Actually, I was like, would they sign Inamura or Yoichi?
Nah, I don't know if he's really what they want look wise.
No, exactly.
But he was the
That's
guy. He
point.
was the guy that went over, right?
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, like the worst case doomsday scenario, I guess, is not impossible. I just find it incredibly, extremely unlikely.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is, well, I mean, WWE announced 3 shows in Japan, 1 in Osaka at Edion, and then 2 back-to-back nights at Sumo Hall.
Well, you say WWE announced those, but that's not who announced those shows.
Oh,
Because that was the other one I just wanted to touch on. Is like, because the thing that I immediately like that I kind of threw out there after thinking about it for a bit after it got announced was like, what if this is just like Cyberfight running a bunch of like WWE branded shows or like just organizing like shows for them in Japan, because WWE also closed down their Japan office that they used to like use to like run the shows. And then lo and behold, a couple of days later, they announced like 3 shows on the Cyberfight like Twitter account for like WWE with like the Cyberfight logo everywhere.
Again, that's what's going to be. Maybe some shows with some Cyberfight wrestlers on them.
Yeah.
Ludo will probably talk to the audience on those shows.
Oh yeah, no, he will like come out first and like talk about stuff or whatever. And the other thing as well, because we talked about like them being like rights holders of like Cyberfight being like the rights holders for like WWE content. The ratings for that content have been absolute dog shit.
Oh,
so yeah, like everybody's like, is this like WWE coming in or whatever? And it's like, well, how about this is actually cyber agents telling Cyberfight that like we paid a shitload of money for this like WWE content. It doesn't draw ratings. Can you like Noah like just massively outdraws them? So this could very well be cyber agent being like, hey, we need more push for like WWE content we paid a lot of money for. Can you like plug it on your shows?
Yeah, exactly. And so you're going to get a couple of, I mean, yeah, could WWE wrestlers appear on a big show? Is there going to be a WWE wrestler at the Noah Budokan show? Maybe. I mean, there's also Marigold, but like they're not even a Cyberfight company. And like what's going to probably happen is like Io Shirai or Kairi is going to be on like that Sumo Hall show in July. Like, to me, that's just what the extent of this relationship is.
Yeah, because I also don't really like see what the benefit for WWE would be to like squash the Japanese scene. Right?
Right.
Like when they went into the UK, they wanted to kill like World of Sport because they didn't want them to be on like national TV. But like the AEW exists, like, like who is there? Who would even be that? What would they even achieve by killing the Japanese scene? How would that benefit them financially? It doesn't, like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I mean, like, or it's like, well, I mean, I don't think they're like against it if they wanted to, but it's like what's like the effort involved in it is like, why bother?
Yeah,
kind of thing. So I'm not concerned at all. I'm sorry, I can't be, right until something happens. I like no amount of, or I don't care. I mean, what even if there's a big match with like, I mean, who are there? And again, like I don't even know what this means because like the shows that they're promoting, like who do they put front and center? Obviously, like Nakamura, Kairi, Io. Poor Akira and like in poor Akira Tozawa, I must say.
You know what? If we have
even
to,
that.
you know what? Let WWE sign Kaito Kiyomiya, but free Akira Tozawa in return.
Okay, so since we're on the of concern, like what do you think Muto as the scout in Noah means?
I don't know. It's just him getting it back and him coming out. I don't know. I don't think this is a real position. I don't think this is anything really. I think this is like them trying to like still capitalize on Muto somehow, while they're like wringing the last bits of relevance out of him and just giving him a check to like stick around. I don't think he's actually going to do any scouting.
Yeah. Well, and he said he was also open to like, international talent being scouted as well.
I mean, Noah's already doing that though. Like, what's he gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he gonna go to soft ground wrestling? I don't think so.
That soft ground might be better on his knees than the hard mat. But
actually, it might be that. To be fair, I would love it if he like breaks his vow to retire to like wrestle in a literal mud field in Uganda.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about this except for I'm not concerned.
Yeah.
And
same.
I don't care if you send like, I don't know, who's actually a good WWE wrestler. I don't know, let's say you send like
Drew
that's
McIntyre.
Not Japanese. Drew McIntyre, Bianca Belair, someone like that.
Sheamus.
I will watch that match and have no problem with it. It could be exciting.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to like destroy the scene or destroy these companies.
As long as Noah doesn't like adopt WWE like production style, like I don't know.
Also, you can't like, given Noah's track record over the last couple of years of chasing truly some bizarre things to try to make money and thing. It's like, well, they could do something stupid that could harm them with this WWE deal, but like being like, hey, can we like have Drew McIntyre squash our entire roster?
Oh yes,
and it could be their idea and not WWE.
Yes, that's the other thing. Like I think people underestimate Noah's ability to just fuck itself up with no like outside influence necessary.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's why it's like, well, the person that does the damage might not be WWE here. So
we're going to book Otis, and then we're going to have him like stack up Kaito Kiyomiya, KENOH, and Go Shiozaki and pin them in 30 seconds. And I'm sure that'll improve our Korakuen record.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I say, watch and pay attention, but I just don't. There's no reason to panic. And I am just shocked by some of the level of panicking I saw.
I mean, I wasn't shocked because we just went through this like 5 months ago.
Well, yeah, nothing
happened. Yeah.
No one
obviously this is a lot more than
actually that's not fair. A few people have learned something. And they said, I saw a few people say, well, nothing happened with All Japan. And they're right. So, but still.
Yeah.
Next up,
like I said, I am more than willing to, like I said, just to reiterate, I am more than willing to eat crow. Like if like the entire scene is dead in like 5 years and WWE killed it somehow. But I also feel like I'm very confident in like making that bet.
I mean, if you really put things together, you don't have a ton of evidence that this could happen, except for like some 40-year-old precedents. And Japan is a completely different situation than the UK or Europe.
Yeah. And again, you have to remember that WWE's advantage was being in New York, which is irrelevant in the case of Japan.
Yeah, and Cyber Agent is a very, very big company.
Yeah, that too.
You're not dealing with like indie mark promoters.
No, yeah, that's the other thing. Like the promoters in the UK were like marks, like cosplaying as promoters, and now they're standing backstage looking utterly miserable. So good riddance.
Right. And Andy Quilden, who's actually like one of the smartest.
Yeah, that's the
promoters
actual promoter.
on the
That's the
planet.
thing. The promotions that thrive were the ones with actual promoters. WXW and Rev Pro.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's our take on this situation. So, you could yell at us if Otis wins the GHC title, but not till then.
Oh God, I'm gonna love my ass off if that's the outcome.
So next up, Marigold was the Marigold debut show was the second most watched event on Wrestle Universe.
Mm-hmm. So
That's,
Noah actually sent around a press release about that.
Oh, that Noah did. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was the Noah PR one. So, or was it actually? No, it was just Wrestle Universe. But I guess they got us off the Noah PR mailing list. But yeah, basically, so what they said: second largest number of viewers for an event in the history of Wrestle Universe, behind Cyberfight Festival 2022. And highest number of new registered members in a single day, excluding the day of launch.
That's quite the feather in the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And
significant increase in overseas subscriber. 20% of Marigold's viewers were new subscribers from overseas.
That's not surprising. I don't know what the numbers are now, but at one point, Stardom World had more overseas subscribers than in Japan.
Yeah. So, but still I would say it's very impressive. But what I was more thinking about is like what that says about kind of Noah and DDT, right? That this new promotion just comes in and like takes the second place. And also found it interesting that apparently it beat the Mudo show as well.
Well, Mudo show was a pay-per-view.
But it was on Wrestle Universe. Like it was I don't know if they counted in there or not.
Maybe live?
Maybe. Or actually the other thing that it also beat the Muta retirement show.
Oh, Muta, yeah.
Yeah, the Muta retirement show against Nakamura, I would have like expected that one to get like a good one in there as well.
I'm surprised that Cyberfight Festival 2022 was the biggest.
Especially since we haven't gotten one since then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're getting all together and all that sort of thing too.
Do we though? Because Gerard, do we? Because I'm sure these shows happen, but we don't get them because we live in the wrong
that's right. We don't get them. Yes.
Yeah.
I still don't even understand the logic of what is the business logic? Like you could just region unlock something.
Yeah.
I really don't understand it.
Yeah.
And because it's like it's not like they have deals with these countries that I don't know.
It's the same company. It's the same company as well. That makes it even more confusing because it's all Cyber Agent.
Yeah, and I can watch the live regular Abima stuff.
Yeah. That's even weirder. I don't know. It's who knows.
And I will just say I didn't watch the whole Marigold debut show, but I watched Mirai versus Chiaki, and I watched the main event, and of course, the hype on Bozilla is real.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people being very, very hyped for Bozilla.
Yes, it was a great match. Definitely recommend checking it out.
Probably should check that out then, yeah. Which isn't because I don't even know if she wrestled at all in Germany before, because I haven't heard her name anywhere before.
What does Alpha Females promotion in Germany? Because she has like Sirius and ACW.
But these are all like pretty small promotions in Germany.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely worth checking that one out. Mm-hmm. So we move on. I will just be quick on this. I don't know, Paul, did you watch the King of DDT second round?
No, I actually didn't. But I do plan on watching the finals next week. Or this weekend, rather.
Okay, so quickly. Chris Brooks defeated Tetsuya Endo. This was a solid match, but like technically well worked. Not like super great, but it was like Brooks working Endo's leg, and he got like the ref stoppage on it, and I thought it was just well wrestled, and everything like that. And Endo sold the leg well. And then there was Daisuke Sasaki versus Sensei Takagi. That was 7 minutes long, ended with a crossover face lock. You could skip it.
I'm not surprised.
Kazusada Higuchi defeated Shuji Ishikawa in 16-16 with the Buchi Kamashi, which is like a sumo charge. This was awesome. Highly recommended, and it was what you think it was.
Yeah, that's definitely already on my list. Like that, I was
We've
like,
entered
there's no way that can't be good.
2024 is the Ishikawa-sans.
Yeah, it really is. And I do expect him to be back in All Japan eventually as well. So
yeah, for sure. And then the main event, Mao versus Toy, was pretty solid match, I thought, actually. But the finish was a little botched with the referee, so that took it down a notch. But still, pretty good.
What happened? Like, did they like fuck up the count, or?
Yeah, the ref fucked up the count.
Ugh, that sucks when that happens.
Yeah. So, but still, just watch that Higuchi versus Ishikawa match for sure. Taishi Ozawa versus Peter Tahani from GWF. Paul, I watched this. This was a very solid match.
Yeah. No, I really liked it as well. It was like wasn't like blow-away match, but I think it showed like Ozawa's progression nicely, even though he did almost like break his legs on his entrance.
Yes.
I don't know if you watched that part where like he tried to do like the flip.
I did see that part. Yes. Yeah.
Because he did it last month as well in his match with Bad Bones, where he like did the flip and then like break dancing on stage, and he like hit it that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the match was really good. I mean, Tihani to me is like the biggest talent in Europe at the moment.
Tihani would fit in Noah well.
That was my takeaway, was like, I really hope that like someone in Noah like watches this match and is like, we should bring this guy in. Because I think this would be like the perfect thing for him to do right now, is like get like an extended run in Japan and like really like get whatever kinks he still has just like worked out. And I think he would get over like really quickly as well. Because like in a way he like reminds me a bit of like early Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I
like
can see that absolutely.
Natural talent is very apparent. Like similar build as well. Like I think he actually would benefit on like putting on a bit of weight. Yeah.
Yeah. Eating some chonko.
Yes, absolutely. What do you think of Ozawa's facial hair?
I like it actually.
I actually liked it as well.
I mean, he's gonna. I think he's obviously. I mean, whether or not he keeps it, I don't know, because I assume when he comes back, it's gonna be all new gear, because he's still wearing the black tights and white boots and everything like that.
Yeah. Which also tells me it's still a while away from coming back, because they start to like put that look together before they come back, but he's still like black tights.
I tend to think that Yoichi, if he's still going to be going by that name, will be in the N1 this year.
Yeah. It's because I don't know if he still holds the I know that he won the Atlas title in Progress, but like whenever he loses that title, that's your like cue that he's coming back to Noah.
Yeah. And speaking of people that might be in the N1, Paul, did you see Titus Alexander versus Naomichi Marufuji?
Yes, I actually finished it like minutes before we started recording.
All right, well, what do you think?
I really liked that one as well.
I
like Marufuji was like this was one of those times where Marufuji was like, okay, I guess it's time to work hard. And Titus obviously is really over with that. But Titus like just worked his ass off as well. Just crazy.
Now,
like
obviously,
did some crazy
I think
bumps.
Marufuji wanted to make Titus look good. I don't think Marufuji worked as hard as he did against Ospreay.
No. I mean,
this wasn't like this was like an indie show in America, but Marufuji did work hard for Marufuji in 2024.
Yeah, definitely did. Got over nicely with the crowd as well, and he challenged them to another match as well.
Yeah. So
I do expect Titus to be, but I agree. I do expect Titus to be in the N1.
I think Noah really likes Titus and Starboy.
Yeah, I mean they made him change his look. in case of Starboy, not Titus.
And Ada and Uka Sasaki signed Noah contracts, which should have surprised no one, I suppose.
No, yeah. Like if you're surprised that Ada signed a Noah contract, I don't know what you want me to tell you.
All right. So we go quickly to Noah Sunny Voyage at Yokohama Radiant Hall on May 18th in front of 244 fans. And I watched the top three matches at Sushi Katoge versus Ryohei. He beat him in 12:06 with horizontal cradle. Very solid match. Recommended. Kaito Kiyomiya and Alejandro defeated Uka Sasaki and Yuka Owada in 17:52 with a Tiger Driver on Kiyomiya on Owada. Again, very solid match. Putting Sasaki and Owada together is interesting considering, well, technically they're both sort of rookies in their own way. And I thought they acquitted themselves well. And the main event, Go Shiozaki went to a time limit draw with Ryohei Oiwa. This was good, not great. I mean, they had to kill a lot of time, and Oiwa worked over the arm. I thought Go selling was pretty good, but I mean, it was still like very solid match. Just, it took a while.
No, I watched that one as well. I was a bit disappointed. I mean, I did go in kind of being spoiled that it was going to be a time limit draw.
Right. Yeah, so did I.
Actually. Yeah. But I was still like, as you said as well, like there was a lot of like what just felt like filler basically. What felt like at times they both were like not quite certain what to like really do. Yeah. And I guess maybe that's like one thing where like Oiwa was still a bit green, but I guess then that would have been on Shiozaki to actually like figure out interesting stuff to fill time with.
Yeah, but Paul, how much are you going to bust your ass at Yokohama Radiant Hall even if it's the main event?
True, especially if you're told you have to go 30 minutes in front of 244 fans. Like, even Go Shiozaki, Go Shiozaki with a body this speedily batting up is going to be like, do I really?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I can't really fault him, but still, I had higher expectations for the match.
Fair enough, absolutely. So we move on. Paul, I had totally forgotten the show was happening on May 21st yesterday at Korakuen Hall in front of 825 fans. I only watched 2 matches from the show. I watched the main event, though, of course. But quickly touch on Titus Alexander, Starboard Charlie versus Anthony Green and Tadasuke. And that won 11-29. And Charlie pinned Tadasuke with a shooting star press. I thought this was great, actually. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I did watch it, but I just wanted to touch real quick on you being like, you forgot that the show was happening. Don't think you're the only one looking at the number that they drew. So
yeah, 825 fans.
I mean, okay, also to be fair, I can't really fault the crowd for this one because A, this wasn't a great card, and B, if I'm like, I have to go to one Korakuen show this week, I'm going to the one the next day, not this one. So
this is a real hardcores.
Yeah, this is really the heart of the hardcores go to this show.
The sickos.
Yeah.
I suppose this is their floor then, if you're doing 825 at Korakuen for a card like this.
Which, could be worse.
Oh, yeah, you could be Big Japan or 2AW with your 350 fans.
Oh, God, yeah. I felt so bad when they made that tweet, when like the Big Japan guys made that tweet, but like, we just had a killer main event. We really would have wished there would have been more people here.
So yeah, dug that match, and then I watched the main event of Ryohei Oiwa, Uka Sasaki, Shuji Kondo, and Ada defeating Kaito Kiyomiya, KENOH, Alejandro, and Crystal Ball in 16:08 with the Dr. Bomb on Oiwa on Crystal Ball. Good match, but a couple other things. Paul, what's up with this Crystal Ball? Like, what's he do? Why is he supposed to be so cool? His outfit looks like it's from the 1980s. And unlike his brother, and I assume it's his brother,
I assume so.
Didn't do anything fancy. All he did was like a missile drop kick and a top rope diving crossbody. I was like looking for
then he lost the match.
And he lost the match. So I was looking for some moonsaults. I was looking for some 450s or some just crazy dives, but I don't know. This doesn't work for a mascot.
No, yeah, it's definitely not like a great re-debut. I mean, maybe it's only a temporary thing.
Maybe.
Right? Like, in that case, it would be defensible, but otherwise, yeah. I don't think this was, like, the ideal way to introduce, like, for, like, the big first, like, Crystal Ball match in the main event of Korakuen and him just kind of not doing anything.
And eating the pin.
Eating the pin too. I did like the match otherwise, though. I think otherwise the match was pretty good. But he was the weakest part of it, so that didn't help.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And then after the match, we got an angle. You know, Oiwa and Kaito, there was some tension there. Oiwa like really went after Kaito in the match, but after the match, he was like, "Hey, do you want to join All Rebellion?" And they shook hands. Kaito and Oiwa shook hands. But then when their backs were turned, Oiwa attacked them. And then Jake Lee came out. And Oiwa refused to join good-looking guys. So that's the angle. And they're sort of making like Oiwa's the lone wolf.
Yeah.
But I have to ask.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Between this and having his belt stolen, Kaito's still being sort of made like a geek. He gets ambushed by behind and his belt has been stolen. I don't think that's a good look.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really mind this one. Like, I don't know. Like, the other one is weird with the belt because, like, if like Kaito had just come out with the belt, I don't think like that whole thing angle might have not even happened because it was not referenced in any way, shape, or form, which I actually kind of expected.
Right.
But I don't really mind this angle though because. Like the gear of like All Rebellion is already like very heavily like Dragon Gate influence, right? Like, I mean, they basically look like what was the name again of the faction? Diehards. They basically look like they like just got out of like a Diehards meeting, and like otherwise like that angle it just felt like a Dragon Gate angle, right? Where it's like yeah I'm joining a faction. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna immediately turn on you as well. When you like literally like the second you turn your back to me, and yeah, with the belt stealing, like I don't know, like because I didn't really even factor that in because in my mind, yeah, I don't know, like the whole thing barely even exists, like the whole like belt getting stolen angle.
Because I was like watching a show, I think like another show. And I was like, oh, why doesn't Kaito have the belt? I was like, oh, right. And someone told me, he's like, oh, yeah, it got stolen by Gabe Kidd. I was like, oh, yeah, I knew that, but I forgot.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's also not like the commentators really reference it all that much. Like, that's the other thing. Like, it's supposed to be this big deal angle that they're building up for that show in, like, Sapporo. But, like, I don't know. It's, like, it doesn't feel like anything at the moment. That's why I didn't even think about it, that both of those combined would make him look like a geek because one of them is not present in my mind, basically.
And there's also like.
Now, there's someone else that looks like a geek here, though.
You think Jake looked like a geek here?
Oh my god, did he? Like, holy shit, this was real. This was like, to me, this was close to him like losing to Suwama and him losing to Nomura. Because like he basically like comes out with like his whole big deal, like they play his music and everything, comes out with his entire faction, and he stretches out his hand, and Oiwa just completely blows him off, and Jake just stands there for what feels like 4 minutes staring off into space.
And with the shrugs.
Yeah. If anyone was made to be like look like a geek here, it was Jake.
All right. So we move on to Star Navigation 2024 One Night Dream 2 on May 22nd at Corkin Hall in front of 1,488 fans. Now they call that a Supernova vacancy full house, even though you could get another like 50 fans in there.
Yeah.
This is below what last year's did. This is below what Marigold did. So, you know.
Hey, but it's above DDT Supernova vacancy full house.
That's true. That's true. Then in the first match of the show, Uka Sasaki defeated Hikaru Sato in 9:38 with the Amatsu Kitsune. Now this was an interesting match because I thought they were going to go all shoot style, but then like Sasaki started like just doing pro wrestling stuff.
He's following the recommendation of leaning into the pro wrestling side.
Yeah, I mean it was a solid enough match.
Yeah.
Although I guess as an aside here, I noticed that Sato's not booked on a lot of All Japan shows going forward.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, they can like deal with
he
it.
is booked on the Evolution show in January or July,
Mhm.
but I think that's about it from my knowledge.
I mean, maybe he's like dialing it back now as well. Like, how old is he? Like, he has to be like
44,
mid
maybe.
40s, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting up there. Actually,
And he was always just a freelancer, like quote unquote, just a
yeah,
freelancer.
of course, but a pretty loyal.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Like more loyal than a lot of people that want a contract. So
Yes, that's true. Yeah, he's booked on the Evolution show on July 15th, but that's the only one I know of in the recent cards that have been released. And the card hasn't even been released. He's just on the poster for the show.
great.
So that's what I'm going off of. And then we had Jack Morris, Anthony Green, LJ Cleary, and Ryohei defeating Ryohei Oiwa, Daiki Inaba, Juta Miyawaki, and Yu Owada when Cleary pinned Miyawaki with the Irish Goodbye 2. I thought this was a nice little match, but I was I don't know, I would have given the win to Oiwa.
Yeah, it's very weird that we
or
like
something
did this
like-
big angle and then
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything the next day.
You could have pinned Cleary in this.
Yeah.
I don't know, just feel some momentum.
I mean, to be
Then-
fair, but he did like he's gonna have a match with KENOH, so
Oh, that's what they announced?
I'm pretty sure they did. At least I think KENOH challenged him at the very least.
That's interesting.
Because I feel like they're building up him versus Kaito for the title.
Yeah, for sure. And then next up, Takumi Iroha, Miyuki Takase, and Nagisa Nozaki defeated Great Sakuya, Brooke Havoc, and Yu in 1301 when Takase pinned Havoc with the Ebisu Otoshi. This was solid. I thought Havoc is like on an excursion to Marvelous. She hasn't been wrestling very long, but I thought she held her own well enough. And other than that, the Great Sakuya didn't really annoy me.
Yeah. No, I mean she has dialed
Maybe-
things back a lot, and the match was short. I think that helped too.
Yeah. I will say though, her handspring elbow though into the corner did not look good.
No.
But other than that, she's not doing all the other bullshit.
No. I mean it's also weird that like she's just losing all the time now, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
I have a feeling maybe this gimmick might not be around for like much longer.
We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, and she didn't necessarily feel like the sort of center of this match.
Yeah. Which she
either.
generally has otherwise. And here she was just kind of like
Yeah.
one
Felt
part
like
of
you
the
did all
match.
the work here
Yeah.
on her team. So yeah, we'll see. And then next up, Titus Alexander and Starboard Charlie defeated Kaito Kiyomi and Alejandro in 1354 with a 450 smash from Charlie on Alejandro. I thought this was pretty darn good. I think this might have been my favorite match of the show, actually.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. And I thought Titus and Kiyomi just had great chemistry.
Yes.
Can I get a singles
I mean,
match?
maybe we'll see that one. I mean, if they're in one block, we might see that relatively quickly.
Yes. What do you think of this match, Paul?
No, I don't think I liked it quite as much as you did, just from what I'm hearing. But I also thought this was really, really good. I really love this like Titus and Starboy team. I think both of them are like incredibly talented, and yeah, I also thought they meshed really well with Kaito and Alejandro, who again, that's also like a really underrated team because they've mainly been teaming in Dragon Gate, right? They haven't really teamed all that much in Noah. But if we're gonna do these like heavyweight and junior tag teams, I think they're like one of the best teams to do that specific kind of like match, basically.
Could you imagine Kaito and Alejandro versus the Aoyagis?
Oh god, yeah, that would be so much fun. That seems like something like something we'll get on like a Fortune Dream show once Atsuki is back.
I feel like it's got to be only a matter of time before Starboy gets that GHC Junior title shot, right? I mean, they keep giving him wins, including over a heavyweight.
Wasn't that already something that was announced as well? Or did I just imagine that? Because I felt like that was gonna be the next match.
I
Not?
don't think so.
Maybe I just, but yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like they're building him up for that, though. Even like,
Oh yeah,
they didn't
sorry.
announce
Yeah,
it yet. Yeah.
it is coming up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was like pretty sure they announced that.
Yeah.
And that would
It's
also
gonna
explain
be
why
on
like Starboy is like changing up his look, because my god, you can't come out for like a junior title match like in fucking overalls.
Let's say denim dragon on them.
Ugh, yes. Ugh.
Oh god, I'm sorry. I don't know.
But aside from that, I'm looking forward to that match, though. I think that
I
match
get
could be
why people hate it, but I don't know. I've seen far worse looks in wrestling. I don't know.
not many, I will say. Like, I don't know. I just think they look just. He's also not a person that looks good in overalls. I don't think that. Like, I think that really is also a bad part of it as well.
Well, when you think of overhauls, you think of like maybe some like, I don't know, hillbilly Jim.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up,
Tomohiro Ishii would look good in overalls, actually.
Tomohiro Ishii defeated Masa Kitamiya in 1746 with a vertical drop brainbuster. I don't know if I have a hot take here, but I mean, this was a good match. I cannot say it wasn't, and I would only put like the tag match that we just talked about slightly ahead of this. But I was disappointed. This was not as good as their match in January, and this was not as good as Kitamiya versus Sugera. I just felt that this lacked the danger and the reckless abandon that those other two matches had.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with Phil. Like, I liked the match, but I was also like walking away disappointed from it as well. And I think you kind of like summed it up really well. Like the other ones, like they just felt more dangerous, whereas this was like perfectly good wrestling, but it also didn't like if it has no purpose, then it should at least have like that danger element, and that was just kind of absent here.
So I mean, obviously watch the match, but
yeah,
I don't know. And what I wanted to say, I was sort of surprised that Kitamiya did the job here.
Yeah,
again, because I thought they were.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I fully expected him to get his win back, and he just didn't.
Yeah. Which well, back to the drawing board of Kato's. Oiwa. It'll be Oiwa after. I mean, assuming it will be Oiwa after Kid, right? I don't know.
I mean, Noah and like failing to book Masa Kitamiya properly, like a tale as old as time.
Yeah. And then we had GLG versus LIJ. Tetsuya Naito and Shingo Takagi defeated Jake Lee and Tadasuke in 1641 when Shingo pinned Tadasuke with the Last of the Dragon. So,
the least surprising result.
Yeah, the least surprising result. The good. I like the ending when like Naito held open Jake's eyes and made him watch the finish. It was incredible trolling by Naito. But I don't think that this did the greatest job in building up otherwise the Naito and Jake match. And this match was like all like Shingo and Tadasuke, which was fine. It was a good match, but I just think you needed more like heat and hype for this match to build.
Also, is Naito gonna be the heel in that match?
Well, no more than he usually is.
Right? Because like it's in Jake's hometown, kind of.
That's true though.
And he like held his eyes open to like force him watch his like buddy get pinned. Like if that's not a heel move, I don't know what is a heel move.
Yeah.
But like the other thing is like Naito's winning though, right?
I would assume so. I mean,
but like
I would be shocked.
Jake kind of looks like shit after this, like, right? Like because he just lost the like setup tag match and was also kind of humiliated in the process, and then he's gonna do the job in his hometown afterwards. that feels like, I mean, it's Jake, but still, like that feels like the wrong way to book this, right?
Sure. Oh well.
Yeah, basically. Oh well.
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not surprised. Well, it's not like Noah has a ton of guys in the upper mid card that they feel are expendable, right? Like,
Yeah.
they never put Sugera and Marufuji in these spots. They'll
Yeah.
offer Jake on a silver platter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, it's fine.
You know? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Jake got his run with the title, and he's going to be near the main event for a while, but he's not going to be protected. He's going to be more of a, a Goto.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's still
Sort of
like
how I feel
gatekeeper
was going.
now.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he'll be like GHC champion again in 6 months, but I don't know. I just don't feel
No,
that
I
way.
hope not. Like, I'm not like I'm not saying he should never win that title again, but like, I don't know, like put like 2-3 years in between that.
Yeah. And then in the main event, special singles match, KENOH defeated Minoru Suzuki in 26:06 with the PFS, or actually 2 PFSs. I love the beginning when KENOH came out with a Suzuki t-shirt. He proceeded to try to rip it, and he was unsuccessful. And then like Suzuki took it and then like proceeded to like fold it, but then threw it in the crowd.
And then KENOH wanted it back after the match.
Yes. So Paul, this was definitely a vibes match. This match was carried by the crowd heat and the charisma of these two wrestlers. It shouldn't have gone 26 minutes.
I don't know. I have to say, because this was actually my favorite match of the show. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
look, I will say I enjoyed the match. It managed to keep my attention mostly for that 26 minutes. I just can't call it like I got hyped. Look, the Suzuki getting busted open helps.
Yes.
And I mean, KENOH was great at selling. I'm just saying that they held it together on the vibes of their characters, but I can't call this my favorite match on the show. I would go like 3.5, 3 3/4.
See, I actually went 4 on this one. I actually really liked it. Because I guess maybe the vibes just like really, really hit with me, and I think it really, to me, it got to like another level when like this was definitely one of those matches that got to another level with like accidental blood, when like Suzuki just got busted open and like started like choking KENOH with like half his face covered in blood. Like, that was just awesome. And it's also, I think maybe like the other reason why it like hit with me really well is because this may very well be like the last great singles match of Minoru Suzuki's career.
It could be, absolutely.
Like,
For
I think
sure.
the point I made in the Discord afterwards was, I don't think we're gonna see many more, like, or I'm not sure if we're even gonna see like any Suzuki match after this one that is going to be better than this one.
You're right. Absolutely.
So, to me, it like like that, like historical significance, but like maybe that kind of like career, like it's definitely like a cornerstone career point, I think, for Suzuki. So I feel like in that way, like maybe like hit with me a lot more as well. Yeah, and obviously like the vibes were like great, like the crowd heat was great. Just like both were like really into it as well, because I feel like with Suzuki as well, like the effort level, like these days, is very much in question, and definitely wasn't here.
Yeah.
And like he took some hellish kicks from KENOH as well, and like the way he sold them was pretty great as well. Or, well, I'm also not sure how much of it was selling and how much of him was like him actually like taking a while to like recover from those kicks as well. But he also gave it back as well. Like some of those forearms, like that he like took to KENOH, like they didn't really look like he pulled back on them a whole lot. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But I would still say the show was a success overall.
Yeah.
And
because I wasn't sure how
do
much
it
it would be, right? Because the last One Night Dream was such a like special thing because of the main event. But I do think like they did actually manage to like keep the concept alive in a really good way.
Yeah, for sure. So I hope they keep it going.
Yeah, no, definitely.
They can-
And I feel like both of them sold really well. So I think they're definitely going to like keep it going. Like the question is just what can you do going forward?
Mhm.
But again, like, I mean, they just pulled out KENOH versus Minoru Suzuki out of nowhere. So I feel like they're going to come up with something like nuts. I mean, that's maybe the one thing I will really give Nosawa as a booker. There's definitely the issues, but like he's really good at like pulling this kind of shit just like out of nowhere.
For sure. He's got all the connections at least, right?
Yeah.
It's like there aren't a ton of like big sort of dream type matches that you can do necessarily unless, well, probably because of politics, because it's like, well, the biggest matches would be guys who are in other companies, and then it gets into like, well, who's going to be doing the job type thing, right?
Next year, One Night Dream 3, Kaito Kiyomiya versus Roman Reigns. In Korakuen. It's still in Korakuen, though.
Yeah. All right. So just for some upcoming cards, on June 9th at Korakuen, so far, all we have announced are the Amaxka return match, Amaxka and Junta Miyawaki versus Alejandro and Cristobal. One would hope that Cristobal would, this would be a good chance for us to show off what he can actually do.
Yeah, definitely.
And then special tag match, Kaito Kiyomiya and KENOH versus Gabe Kidd and Jake Lee.
Because sure, why not?
Who's doing the job?
Why is it? I mean, I get why it's KENOH, but like, why isn't it Naito?
Oh, right. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I assume KENOH is the guy taking the pin here.
Yeah.
Or maybe Jake. I don't know. But no, Jake doesn't make sense because he has the match of Naito, so it has to be KENOH.
Yeah. Or Kid could pin Kaito. And I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think that will happen, but they're not above doing that, I don't think.
I'm sure people will have very normal reactions about that.
I'm sure they will. And then June 16th, Yokohama Budokan. We only have 3 matches announced so far, but we got Takumi Aroha versus the Great Sakuya, which could be a great match if there's no like gimmickry.
That's a first singles match as well, right?
Is it?
As Great Sakuya?
No.
I don't think she's had a singles match. I think all of her matches have been tag matches.
It just wasn't very good.
Probably.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
Because she's really only had like the match.
Yeah, it was Miyuki Takase defeated the Great Sakuya by DQ. Season 2, number 2.
Oh yeah, that was the really, really weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, see? So hopefully we get something better than that. Now they're both marvelous. But I assume that Aroha is higher Aroha is higher on the pecking order. So I wonder if that like she can't do that. Aroha can't lose to her.
Well, she can get DQ'd. So sad.
Yes. There's also that. Even though I think I mean, like we said, if the Sakuya thing keeps going, then she should probably win there. No, right?
Yeah, she should.
And then we've got Daga versus Starboard Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Daga retains? They seem kind of high on Charlie. I don't know.
They seem high on Charlie, and Daga has gotten a lot of like defenses. But I don't know. I would still put my money on Daga defending, but I do think Charlie, right. Charlie might have a better chance than I think people think.
Yeah, I would know that. And then main event for the JC heavyweight title: Kaito Kiyomiya versus Gabe Kidd.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it. I am a Gabe Kidd defender. So I think this match is going to be great because all of their interactions so far have been great. Like I don't know how you can watch the match they had in the G1 and think this isn't going to be absolutely insane.
Yep, I agree. It'll be a good match, or should be a good match anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think this does business-wise?
And I actually was about to ask the same thing. I mean, at this point, from what we've seen,
It said
if they draw less than All Japan, it has to be a massive disappointment, right?
Do you think they're going to get 2,500 for this show? I don't know. I don't think so.
You think they're going to set a new low floor for the Buntai?
They even cracked 2,000. I'm thinking
no. They're definitely cracking 2,000. I don't think they're going to draw that badly.
I guess we'll see what else gets announced.
I mean, yeah, that might also be a thing as well.
Wow, they had VIP seats for 50,000 yen that are sold out.
See?
Front row.
How do the other categories look as well? Do they have the little
Nothing else has been sold out.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. I guess it depends how well they sell this on the next court, and because they'll still have a week to hype it up after that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Noah. Any final thoughts?
I mean, I've really enjoyed what they've put out.
Yeah.
Recently,
I
basically.
Love One Night Dream, but I still think Noah's going in the right direction. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to this Kaito Oiwa feud that is brewing there. Because I think Oiwa's really starting to come into his own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, I actually, if you want a spicy take, I think there might be a chance he's beating Kaito.
Really?
I think you could do a thing where he beats him, he gets one defense against Shiozaki or someone like that, and then he loses it back to Kaito or someone else. And then he loses a big loser leaves town and then goes back to New Japan.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Oiwa's coming back soon or leaving soon.
Yes. No, I do think that's very likely.
They might need him for the G1.
Yeah.
Actually. Which would be a reason why I don't think he's winning.
Yes. No, I mean, I do think it's more likely Kaito's winning, but I don't think it's impossible. It really depends how much longer they're going to have him, right? If Oiwa is going to be in the G1, then Kaito is just beating him and then he's moving over to New Japan. Whereas if he's coming back in January, then you could absolutely still do that. Then you could absolutely have him have a quick run. Then he loses the title and then he goes to New Japan. And then he goes into New Japan as a former champion. And if that gives New Japan an excuse to just immediately just rocket push him to the top.
Right. So we move on to All Japan Pro Wrestling at the Champion Carnival 2024 finals at Yokohama Buntai in front of 2,530 fans. Paul, I saw a little bit of discussion on this. Do you think that number's legit?
You think they kind of fudged the numbers there a bit?
I don't think so. And if they did, it wasn't by much.
Because they haven't really done that, right?
It's just I don't really see much evidence of All Japan fudging numbers. But also, that's a pretty cavernous space.
Yeah.
And if you looked around, there's a good number of people in there spread out.
Yeah, exactly.
Stands and everything. So
I think it doesn't help that the hard cam is where there's no people.
Yeah. I mean, there were definitely 2,000 people in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I am leaning towards it. Absolutely. That's a legit number.
Yeah. Because I haven't really looked at photos for the Stardom show, but it's not they drew that much less.
A couple hundred more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we start off with the Actress Girls Offer match. Act and Riko Fukunaga defeated Marino Saihara and Yufa in 9:32 when Fukunaga used the Soten Casadora on Saihara. I mean, this wasn't bad or anything, but it lacked some of the oomph that those actress girls matches that like involved like Aono and Koki did. Like that wasn't quite the blow in the match quality when they all left for Marigold.
Yeah, I actually skipped this. I think I'm just kind of like done with the actress girls.
Well, Paul,
for
we
now.
might be done with the actress girls, but we'll get
Yes,
to that.
that's the other reason why I skipped it, is because I also feel like the promotion is done with the actress girls as well. So I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time, especially since all of the good wrestlers are gone.
You can now watch them on Wrestle Universe instead.
Yeah, exactly.
First up, Dan Tamura and Musashi defeated Seki Yoshioka and Andy Wu in 7:53 when Tamura used the La Magistral Cradle on Wu. Solid opener. I kind of thought in the back of my head though that like Yoshioka or Wu might pin Dan to get and
Same.
challenge for the title later, but that did not happen.
Yeah, no, I actually had the exact same thought. I was surprised. I actually expected Yoshioka to win. But yeah, doesn't seem like that's what they're doing, but it was a really good. Like I really liked it as an opener otherwise.
I want them to do Yoshioka versus Hayato.
Yes, I think that match would absolutely rock.
Yeah. And next up, we had Harley Jackson and Lord Crew versus Hokuto Omori and Kuma Arashi, or defeating Hokuto Omori and Kuma Arashi in 10:51 when Jackson pinned Omori with the Death Valley Bomb. I would say that this match exceeded my expectations. I am also surprised that they got as much time as they did. I thought Jackson and Crew worked very well together. And now Lord Crew is teasing that him and Harley Jackson are going to be teaming in the Real World Tag League.
Which I'm absolutely in favor of.
Yeah.
Like Jackson isn't the greatest anymore, but I think like if you put him in a tag team, that's still
all of his. Well, I thought his matches when he was teaming with Nakajima in the build up to Yuma or Anzai versus Nakajima was actually pretty good. So I have absolutely no problem with Harley Jackson as a tag team wrestler in All Japan.
Yeah. But what do you think of like Hokuto Omori apparently like being punished?
Yes, that seems to be something people are talking about. I don't know. I think he just drew the short end of the stick. I don't have any evidence of it. So he's being punished, but he's allowed to use the horse gimmick. Why don't they just make him shave his head instead or something? And
that's what I was like. But then why isn't Kuma Arashi eating the pin here, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, we don't have anything to base that off of except for his booking. But if you look at that A block, I mean, he wasn't going to get that many wins to begin with. I always thought. Now, what concerns me more with Hokuto is that the horse head angle might not be going anywhere.
Yes, like that's actually more of my indicators. Like, what if this horse thing actually never gets a review?
Well, that's just bad.
It's just like a thing. Yes, that's just bad booking.
Like, you don't have something where you could possibly like be like, who is that? And then never pay it off.
I mean, you can, and it has been done very frequently in wrestling. It's just a bad idea.
Yeah. This is All Japan's Who Drove the Hummer, the white Hummer.
Yeah, who was the horse head? It was Hulk Hogan, actually. It's under the horse head. Can't do steroids anymore, so he shrunk a lot.
And then this match was called Formation. Shin Heisei Earthquake Army Special 6-man tag match. Yuma Aoyagi, Shiro Koshinaka, and Akira defeated Shotaro Shino, Kuroshio Tokyo Japan, and Seigo Tachibana in 9:03 with a diving elbow drop from Aoyagi on to Jiro. This was the comedy match of the show, but you know what? This was better than putting like 6 senior citizens out there.
Yes.
Like All Japan has done. So, you know, I mean, your mileage may vary, but it was fun and it suited the sort of role it was designed to do.
And also Yuma Koshinaka got like a chuckle out of me as well.
Of course. He loves doing that hip attack when he teams with Koshinaka.
Yeah.
And after the match, Jiro snapped. Wild Jiro. He was pissed that Aoyagi defeated him again and took his jacket, so he went ham on Aoyagi. And sort of like, you know, like Jiro doesn't snap like that. really.
No.
So it was like kind of cool to see, honestly. You know.
You have Dark
So
Side
I'm
Kuroshio,
curious what
Tokyo, Japan.
Dark Side Kuroshio, Tokyo, Japan. So I'm curious where this is going, but we'll talk about that in a minute. After Champion Carnival match, Rei Saito defeated Ren Ayabe in 11:41 with the Eisbin. Again, I thought this was solid. I think Ayabe is really starting to lean into like being very tall. And I think this is a nice little sign, especially because like, with the Saitos, it's like, well, okay, they've had some great matches, but can they be depended on depending on who their opponent is? But I thought they both performed well here and showed that they can hang on their own.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it exceeded my expectations a little bit as well, because again, I do think like Ren is like improving a lot, but it's still like it's not quite there yet. Like he's getting there. I think I'm more confident now that he will get there than I was like a couple of months ago.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I thought Ray did really well here, and like I said, this made me also more confident that Anzai is retaining.
Yeah. Special tag match. Suwama and Hideki Suzuki defeated Masakatsu Funaki and Masayuki Kono in 12:27 with the Manriki sleeper from Suwama on Kono. Boring.
Yeah, this happened.
That's all I have to say about that.
Certainly was a match that happened.
Well, the Funaki and Suzuki did some nice sequences, but that's about it. I don't know much to say. Like it was just
I was more interested in Suwama and Hideki fighting yet again in the post match.
Yes. They were fighting over the towel after the match.
Yeah.
And then Hideki paid a visit to the Evolution show.
And we got an interesting setup there.
Yep. And he brought gifts to the show, which is funny. After Champion Carnival special tag match, Yuma Anzai and Ryuki Honda defeated Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Cyrus in 13:33 with the lariat from Honda on Cyrus. Paul, this was a good example of why I talked about Cyrus last week. You should put him in tag matches. I really enjoyed this tag match. I think it exceeded expectations. I thought Anzai and Smith had great chemistry, actually. That's actually a match I'd like to see. So this all came together because Anzai and Honda are great into a nice little tag match. A real throwback against a young, good-looking team of Japanese wrestlers versus two large foreigners.
Yeah. I really like this as well. Very classic match structure. I also agree, like Davey, I was surprised how well like Davey and Cyrus meshed well. So if we're already like talking about people teasing like a real world tag league run, like that's definitely one I would like to see as well. Yeah,
they would not be a bad team at all. And then for the PWF World Junior Heavyweight title, Rising Hayato defeated Kaz Hayashi in 13:52 with the Sid Vicious to make his second successful defense of the title. Hayato had a new entrance. He came out to Sid Vicious's rendition of My Way.
Yeah. That was really cool.
I mean, I thought this was pretty good, and I think it came down on like right where I was expecting. Right? Like someone's tried, and it was a solid match.
Yep.
A good match, right?
Oh yeah, it didn't blow me away, but yeah, it was basically exactly what like I thought it would be, because like Kaz Hayashi at this point, like it's not that he's like washed, but it's definitely like a step slower basically than he used to be.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Wash is way too strong.
Yeah. He's basically like retiring at just the right time, and it's becoming apparent that he's slowing down, so he's like going out on like while he's still pretty good, which he was here as well.
With the video before the match and everything, I thought they set this up, and the crowd actually was pretty hot for this. I thought they just set up the whole this like Kaz's farewell to All Japan. Well, it might not even be his actual farewell, but like basically the real farewell to All Japan.
Yeah. Which makes sense because he's retiring soon. So
yeah,
and I thought this was a really good way for him to go out as well.
Oh, absolutely. And
even if it isn't
Champion Carnival,
and yet again, I also just remembered a great champion taking an L.
Yes. Well, he's a tag champion, but still, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine, but it's just kind of funny that like it's another like champion of great that like gets dropped out another promotion.
Speaking of great, I don't think the match just finally got put up, and I didn't have enough time to watch it. But I got to watch Haido Tama versus Takanori Ito for the G-Rex title. That happened.
Oh yeah, yeah. I need to watch that.
I will watch that and give a report on the next show. And Champion Carnival final. Kento Miyahara defeated Jun Saito in 27-15 with the shutdown suplex hold. And Kento wins his second Champion Carnival. Previously was the 2019 winner. Paul, let's talk about when exceeding expectations. Now, look, I said this is going to be a good match. I did not expect this. This is incredible.
Yeah. This is one of the best matches of the year.
Absolutely. I would put this, I'm not sure I'd put it in my top 5, but top 10, absolutely.
Yeah. Right now, absolutely. Yeah, that would go into my top 10. And again, when the Saitos like made their debut, I was like, okay, yeah, let's see what these guys can do. And then like when they came back, I was like, okay, they're actually like becoming better or whatever. But I never expected them to become like this level of singles worker.
Even
to become this good.
As one of the biggest Saito brother respecters from the very beginning, expected this.
Yeah. Especially not of June as well, right? Because I think both of us are like more like on like Ray is the better one side.
I think June improved it during the Champion Carnival as a singles wrestler.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's now like, well, who's going to get the real singles push? You know, before I was like, oh, it's got to be Ray. It's got to be Ray. But I don't know. You know,
I mean, like I said, there is money in doing an eventual like triple crown title match between these two in their hometown.
Absolutely.
Just based on what they've drawn so far in Miyagi. Like you could probably like maybe not even just their hometown, but like you could probably like put that in Sendai in a pretty big building.
Yep. Absolutely. June becomes like what, the third wrestler to kick out of the shutdown after like Jake Lee and Zeus?
Yeah. Yeah, Zeus was the first one, then it was Jake. And Yuma didn't Yuma do it though in their last Triple Crown match?
I think I want to say yes, but I can't remember for sure.
Because I think I remember that like I'm pretty sure he kicked out of it in their like title match last year. Because I do remember like getting really hyped because I actually expected like Kento to like win the title back. And then he actually kicked out of the shutdown and then won the match. But I mean, still, like it's still a massive achievement because that's like still only is like like at worst he's the fourth person. He's either the third or the fourth person ever to do it.
It means a lot still.
Yeah.
And I mean Kento led this, but June kept up every step of the way.
Yeah, I think that was the most impressive thing.
And he could keep up in a Kento. Like, he wasn't too clumsy for a Kento Miyahara finishing sequence.
No. Which I really very much expected that Kento would have to do like a scaled down version of his like finishing sequence, but he didn't. No. Like he did it basically the same he would have done it with Yuma Aoyagi.
Full balls out.
Yeah.
Kento Miyahara finishing stretch. So
this was absolutely tremendous. This was like the biggest surprise I would say so far this year in terms of like I expected a good match, maybe even like something I would like go like 4 stars on, but like I didn't expect that I would be like probably gonna go 4.5 on this. Like I definitely did not expect to go this high on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just amazing. And it felt like, a big win for Kento because he hasn't had many big wins over the last year.
No.
He lost the Triple Crown to Nagata. So that felt big. It was a star-making performance from Jun Saito. Or, I mean, he was already a star, but like gave you the confidence that
a single star.
Yeah.
Because he was definitely like him and his brother were like stars as a team, but like now we're actually getting to the point where like actually each of them individually is
a single star, yeah. And then, of course, Anzai comes out and everything. Do you see that KENOH wanted to hoist the trophy over his head, but then he tried to pick it up and was like, "Oh, I can't do that."
Yep. Yeah.
So
No,
far
that
apart.
tight. That. Yeah. No. That trophy has
it's
been
funny
holding on
because
for dear life for a while.
It's funny because it just looks like it gets more precarious looking every year.
Yeah. I don't think because Japan has like very strict building codes because of all of the earthquakes. I don't think
Right.
that trophy would hold up to a building code.
No, absolutely not. Again, we said this last episode, but best carnival in several years.
Yes. No.
Although,
Absolutely. Like since 2019. I mean, and here's the thing. The 2019, I would say maybe it was the best carnival and even longer than that, because the 2019 one was like, they got some like really big name outsiders into that one. And I would say there were some more dire carnivals prior to that as well.
Well, 2018 and 2019 were the two best of
Yeah.
like the last decade, I'd say.
Yeah,
2018, you
for
also
sure.
had Shingo.
Yeah. Because 2019 you had Marufuji, and then was it?
No,
Or was
2018
when
was
was Marufuji?
Marufuji.
Oh, 2018. Yeah, 2018 was
was-
like stacked.
2019 was Okabayashi.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like you had
And,
those 2 years, but then I would say like the years prior to that are not. I would have to look into like a bit more if I look into like early to mid 2010s carnivals versus this one, which one I would prefer.
Well, I can tell you right now, 2013 Carnival was awesome because
Mhm.
that's when Burning came in.
Oh yeah.
But things take a turn afterwards. So 2014, Suwama, Tako Omori, Akibono, Kendo Kashin, Kento Miyahara, Osama Nishimura, Black Joe Doring, Jun Akiyama, Go Shiozaki Zeus, Yutaki Yoshie, and Kenzo. That's
Yeah, I
actually
think
not
I'm taking
that
this
bad.
one. It's not bad, but I think I'll take this one over it.
2015, again, most of the same guys, except you had the bodyguard and Kengo Mishimo instead of like Nishimura.
Yeah, I mean that's a lateral move basically.
2016, Daisuke Sakamoto, Kento, Kengo Mishimo. I miss him actually in All Japan. The bodyguard, Super Tiger,
Oh god.
Jun Akiyama, Naoya Nomura. Block B, Zeus, Ryoji Sai, Yutaka Yoshite, Tako Omori, Atsushi Aoki, because I think this is when Doring was out for the first time with cancer. Hideyoshi Kamatani, and Jake Lee.
Yeah, I'll take this one over that one as well.
2017, much of the same guys, except you still had like Kengo Mishimo and Sai, but then you also had Kai and Daichi.
Yeah, no, again, I will take this one because it's also like a lot more like your own guys as well, right?
I forgot. 2018, Yuji Hino.
Oh god, yeah, no, that was a really good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Really weirded out that he like basically never came back to All Japan after that.
No. Well, I mean, he's bounces around.
Yeah.
And now he's just a part-timer, so
yeah,
unfortunately. So we go into the previews, and we have a lot to talk about on the show on May 29th. So we start off, Yume Aoyagi versus, this is not the match order, hasn't been announced yet. Yume Aoyagi versus Kuroshio, Tokyo, Japan. Paul, is Hero winning this?
he might be, because he's getting like a title shot later in the month, right? Or not later in the month, but like
it's like
after
he's
this.
already he lost by KENOH and pinfall in a tag. Just seems,
especially if he's
could
getting
win
like
by-
a new character and everything.
he might be winning by count out here too or something. Or maybe he gets DQ'd for kicking too much ass. That would actually kind of work in this context. That would not be the
I mean,
worst.
what I'm very curious though is what will his entrance look like?
Yeah. He'll come out to some dark brooding song.
Will be like the exact opposite. Will be like extremely depressed. Is he gonna like flip off the crowd? Oh no, that would be so sad.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, sorry. Next match, All Asia Tag Team Title Skirmish. I forgot about this. Rising Hayato, Seiko Tachibana Musashi, and Seki Yoshioka versus Dan Tamura, Hikaru Sato, Naruki Doi, and Fuminori Abe. Sato is still a champion, but I was just saying that he seems to be booked on a lot less All Japan shows going forward.
So we might see Tachibana and Jiro win those titles actually.
Oh, we'll see. I don't know. And then Shitaro Ashino and Ren Ayabe versus Hokuto Mori and Kuma Arashi.
Yeah, I mean that should be good. I mean that's mostly and Fon's reunion.
I have no problem. Hokuto and Kuma are a perfectly good tag team, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Would be perfectly fine with that over the long term.
I mean, actually, Ashino and Ren, like if you want to because both of them have nothing to do right now, right?
I just think that makes Ashino look not good.
Very small. Yeah. I mean, look,
because
relative situation
really accentuates it. It just
yes,
accentuates
it really does. Look, they can do spots for I don't know, Ashino or Ren tags in reaching over Ashino and his opponent.
Maybe. And then All Japan AJPW TV 6-man tag team titles.
They return.
They return. Suwama, Mayumi Ozaki,
the most prestigious title,
versus Hideki Suzuki, Zones, and Chi-Chi. We are so
talking
back
about
now.
returns. We're absolutely back, yeah.
Hopefully, this is a return to the 2023 Joshi division.
Yes.
And we're past the actress time.
I mean, I feel like if there is no actress girls offer match on this, then we know the answer.
Yeah, I was going to say there is none so far.
Yeah. Well, did they announce them in advance?
Pardon?
Did they previously announce them in advance? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, they'll say
never part of the official card. Ah, okay.
Actress time.
So we might be done with actress time. Might be over.
I changed the titles here, but the only thing is this finish is going to have to involve Hideki beating Suwama.
Oh, yeah,
Those
for sure.
Chi-Chi are not pinning Ozaki or Yukihi.
I mean, he could tap out Ozaki. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, she's not going to do a job. And Yukihi...
No, actually, yeah, never mind.
They did
Yukihi
a double
might.
count out.
Yeah.
No, Yukihi went to a double count out with Julia for the World of Stardom title.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it has to, it literally has to be Suwama. It's the only one it's the only one here willing, unless Zones and Chi-Chi do the job, literally the only other person that is willing to do a job is Suwama.
But I think it's time to belt those ladies up, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
As bizarre as these titles are.
Yeah. Put some prestige on them. And then maybe eventually we'll also see the return of Unagi and all of those guys as well.
Well, I mean, Suwama was doing angles with Unagi at the Evolution show, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. So yeah, I mean, this is a really good sign. Although it could be a one-off.
I mean, maybe, but I feel like this Suwama Hideki thing has to lead to something, right?
Yeah.
So it could just be the title change here.
So I would really like to see them belt it up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then World Tag Team title, Jun Sato and Rei Saito versus The End, Pero and Odinson. Now, we haven't seen them in 5 years.
Yep.
I really liked their match against the Violent Giants in June or July of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to be a big test for how well the Saitos can carry other opponents.
Yeah, because Pero has gotten a lot worse.
Yeah. And I don't know. Odinson can be decent, but I haven't seen him in NWA recently.
No.
He's been even more jacked than he was before.
Apparently, he's teaming with JR Kratos now.
Yes.
It's interesting that they didn't bring him in. But
Kratos, I don't even think Kratos has been used by New Japan in a while, has he?
No. But he did have that absolutely shit tour with All Japan a few years
Yes,
ago.
he did.
Which I feel like they might have been like NWA is like, oh, we're gonna send over Odinson and his tag partner J.R. Kratos, and All Japan was like, can we have Perro instead?
Yeah. They're on the whole tour.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're winning though.
Oh no. I'm just curious because I want to see how the Saitos can carry this.
Yes, yeah, like this will actually be like the one, like the time will be like the first time ever for them where they have to like actively carry the entire match, right?
Pretty much. But even
Definitely
when
a big test for them.
Even when the end was in All Japan before, they would put Odinson in the finishing sequences.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he is the better one. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, whatever. We'll see how they turn out, right? I'll reserve my judgment for them, but I don't know.
I mean, if the Saitos carry these guys to a good match, then like I think we can just literally just put them into like elite worker categories for sure.
Yes. And then, Paul, we have much to talk about here. NWA World Heavyweight Title, EC3, the Overman, versus Ryuki Honda. What a match.
It's 16 pounds of gold.
10 pounds of gold.
10 pounds of gold.
What a match. What a match. Well, we'll start with the NWA relationship. Okay, so the video that they aired with EC3, that logo that they used, the NWA, was the Exodus Pro logo. Exodus Pro is EC3's indie in Cleveland, where, I mean, they only started like in the second half of 2023 is when it started, but they're like an NWA territory. And
when they brought back territories.
Lord Crew's a regular there because he's like from Cincinnati. There's a couple other wrestlers. I was looking into their like who they book. There's a couple other wrestlers there that have some good looks and some potential, and stuff like that. So, but as David reported in the Observer this week, Dory and Marty Funk helped broker this deal. Because I also saw Dory Funk's Twitter account also tweeted this out.
I mean, he is the PWF president, right?
He is the PWF president. The NWA Twitter account or X account, whatever, they retweeted stuff, but Exodus Pro has been like the Exodus Pro account has done way more activity on this match than the NWA has. Now, it sounds like that All Japan wants to work with the NWA. So, Paul, what do you think of all this?
So, what do we think? How likely is it that the NWA will
Billy
come
Corgan
and just poach all of the talents?
Do you think Billy Corgan is going to destroy All Japan Pro Wrestling, Paul?
Yes. No, he's going to come in. Kento Miyahara is going to win the NWA West US title or whatever the fuck. And then they're going to put Yuma Aoyagi in the NWA Performance Center.
30 titles.
Yeah, I mean they should have enough titles. They could like belt up Kento and like his Ultimo Dragon.
They could. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, look. If you sort of comb through the NWA roster, there's a few people that could fit in decently in Japan. Paul, are you?
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with the Thrillbilly Silas?
I've heard that name.
You should Google him and tell me that he wouldn't fit in. At least he doesn't deserve a shot in All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Let's see. The Thrillbilly Cyrus. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. It actually brought up a lot of pictures of Billy Ray Silas, but yeah, I also see Thrillbilly Silas. Yeah. Oh no, that's absolutely an All Japan wrestler. Yeah, 110%.
That is an all. That
is a fat brawler. Like that's like that man is purpose built to get a
some
like real world tag.
I mean, this might be I don't want to be too pretentious here, but this is some Terry Gordy vibes.
Oh yes, no, yeah, with the cowboy hat and everything.
you know, you can't tell me that this guy wouldn't, doesn't at least deserve a shot in All Japan or something like that, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no. That's like literally, it's like when that guy gets booked, you're like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense why he would get booked in All Japan.
Yeah. Paul, what are the chances of Kento winning the NWA title?
So I would say around 110%.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
You think he wins it in Japan, goes to the States, and drops it later after a couple?
Yeah,
months?
I think they're going to do the Kojima run here, basically.
I think they should.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'll get into this more in a minute, but I think it would give something for Kento to do.
Yeah.
We'll give my take.
Also,
on
let's
what's
not forget that
happening.
Kento's a bit of a mark for like 80s US wrestling.
Yeah.
So absolutely 100% he wants to win that title if they can arrange it.
If Kento had his way, I'm sure he'd turn the Triple Crown into a winged eagle.
Oh, yes. But then he would absolutely also want to defend that NWA title against Frill Billy Cyrus.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any I don't have any problem with it. I mean, I guess my biggest problem would be if they just bring in crappy wrestlers.
Yeah, because there are some good people on that NWA roster, but there's also some pretty bad stuff on there.
There's some diamonds in the rough, but most of it isn't great by any means. And that would, to me, be the thing. But All Japan isn't going to bring over 8 guys at a time like New Japan.
No.
They're going to bring 2 or 3 tops. You know,
is the Morton kid still there?
Yeah, but I don't know. See, he is, I think. I just don't. And he's good. I just don't see how he, I just don't, he doesn't fit into a Japan type vibe for me.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But you never know before he gets a tour, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I shouldn't be too whatever. But he would be he would fall under the best of the NWA for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at their last show and who else was on it. That I would even give a second to. I don't even know some of these people. Joe Alon, I don't know. He's their junior champion. Mims, maybe? Because he's got size.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think that they can make this work if they were, judicious in who they sort of use. Actually,
mm-hmm. And maybe who they sent back as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would assume if they did what we think they should do, Kento wins in Korakuen, and then he'll drop it in the States, right?
Yeah. When is the next big NWA show? When do they have that is the anniversary show already done for this year?
Okay, so NWA just does monthly shows or every other month, and they just tape everything now and put it on the CW app. They stopped with pay-per-view because they were having some dire
yeah, 20 people buy them or something?
200 or something.
Oh god, yeah.
So Crockett Cup is on May 18th. Wait, that can't be right.
Yeah, that definitely can't be right because that was last.
I'm just looking at Cage Match.
Saturday. Yeah,
but nothing happened. Oh, probably because it was taped, and they're not going to put the results until.
Oh, it's not gonna. Well, normally they do, but maybe they just haven't.
I never looked at the spoilers, but it just had Sam. The only match they have listed is Sam Adonis versus EC3. They got.
I mean, but here actually, there, 31st of August, NWA 76.
Yeah,
the 76th anniversary in the 2300 arena. There you go. If you put Kento on top of that, you're gonna draw a good number.
Yeah, in Philly, yeah. So you'd have to bring EC3 back in June sometime because you want to get a couple of defenses out of Kento in Japan.
Yeah,
that could work. I think so. So anyway, I'm cautiously optimistic about this.
Yeah, no, like I said, it could go badly if there's like they bring over some real shit, but it could also be like just like a pretty solid relationship. Like there's worse partners to have, really.
And yeah, like Billy Corgan cannot fuck up All Japan or anything like that.
No, exactly.
So
All Japan already has a crazy promoter that owns them. You don't need Billy Corgan for that.
yes. And then in the main event, and we can be safely assume that this. Oh, I mean, obviously EC3 wins.
Yeah.
Unless Billy Corgan took a look at Ryohei Honda and said, "I need this man to main event my 76th anniversary."
Oh man, yeah. Oh god, that would actually. I mean, if you want to give like Honda like a first big like title win, you know.
I think though, if you're gonna do this relationship, you got to put it on a big Japanese star first.
Yeah, not Honda.
Yeah, sorry, Honda.
Not yet.
I would give him.
Let's give him 5 years, and this might look very different.
Yeah, you could give him a run later with it, I think.
Yes.
But I think Kento really should be the one to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Yuma, but really, you want to put the face of All Japan have that title first.
Mm-hmm.
I think. And Paul, what are your expectations for this match? Because like
EC3 with Honda.
Yeah.
EC3 has been pretty bad.
I mean, I tried to watch some EC3 matches from recent ones, and they're like on the NWA YouTube, they're like 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes long. They're nothing to them. But I don't think that EC3 looks like horrible. They're just bland. But like, I mean, I feel like he's got to know that he's got to produce something here.
But he doesn't have any needs.
Studio wrestling. Yeah.
Like that's the big problem. I don't like. This might legitimately be a case of like the mind is willing, but the body isn't.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, Honda could still try to make something of this. I think. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I also have a feeling this might not be super long either.
This probably isn't going longer than 10 minutes.
No, because like there's like 4 title matches on this, and the main event is gonna go long because that might be a time limit draw.
Well, I'm okay. Let's talk about that main event: Triple Crown, Yuma Anzai versus Kento Miyahara. Paul, I'm more skeptical of a time limit draw because of how stacked this undercard is, relatively speaking.
I mean, it really depends how long some of these title matches go, right? Because like I could see like the 6-man tag titles and the NWA title match go pretty quickly. And then you do have like 60 minutes for your main.
I still think, okay, one way or another, I think Anzai's still walking out of the show as champion.
Yeah, no, I do think that as well. Even more so now that Rei Saito won against Ayabe as like his next offense.
Well, also, listen to this. June 1st, Sun Machida Asahi Gymnasium. Yuma Anzai, Ren Ayabe, and Rising Hayato versus Suwama Hideki Suzuki and Fuminori Abe.
Yeah. So he's main eventing that one as well, yeah.
I think Hideki's challenging him after.
Yeah. Because it's like Kento doesn't really have like a match that like a challenger would come out of. Because he's not going to get challenged by... As much as I would love it, Masashi Takeda versus Kento Miyahara is not going to be a Triple Crown match.
Yeah, and Anzai losing the title with no defense is just it doesn't help him at all.
And again, like you just brought up like Hideki's gonna challenge him. I brought up Rei challenging him. Like there's so many potential title challenges they set up for him during the carnival. Whereas they set up like one for Kento.
I think the Suzuki one is happening first.
Yeah.
Because it was like the last night block show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he beat him by submission and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I just think that's the next one.
Yeah, but I think it just more in general, like they have built up a number of title defenses for Anzai, so it doesn't really make sense for him to lose here.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you cannot absolutely at all write off Kento winning here.
No, obviously not. It means Kento Miyahara.
but I'm a lot more confident now that Anzai is walking out champion one way or another.
Mhm.
And I still think he's going to beat him.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it might be a draw, but I do think there very much is a chance that he just beats him as well.
Yeah. So looking ahead, we already talked about that. This June 1st show has a real match that sort of sticks out to me as a real sicko. It's got Rei Saito versus Hikaru Sato.
Yeah.
And moving on, June 4th, I'll just talk about the notable matches or ones that keep sort of capture my attention. June 4th, Shinkiba. We got Suwama versus Kuma Arashi, Hokuto Omori versus Hideki, and Jiro and Tachibana versus Pero and Odinson.
Yeah, that I don't know how that's gonna go.
We've got, and then on June 8th, it's the Kisei Culture Hall, Medium Hall in Nagano, which is Yuma Aoyagi's hometown. We've got, okay, this sounds cool. Yuma Anzai, Rezik Hado, and Musashi versus Jun Saito, Rei Saito, and Fuminori Abe.
Yes.
And then we have 3 Yuma Aoyagi 10th anniversary debut 10th anniversary matches. So he's against Hokuto Omori, and then he's against Reiki Honda, and then he's against Kento. I assume those all.
He's not winning all of these, right?
I assume those all have 10-minute time limits, right?
Yeah, it might be a bunch of time limit draws. Yeah.
He'll beat Hokuto.
He beat Hokuto. Yeah. He probably beats Honda too.
And then on June 9th in Gifu, we've got Shotaro Ashino and Hiroki Murase versus Hokuto Omori and Jack Kennedy. Okay. Do you know who Hiroki Murase is, Paul?
I don't actually.
It's Udamaro.
Oh. Ooh. Interesting. Purple Haze returns.
Purple Haze returns. He hasn't been in the company in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought he was a solid little guy to have in the undercard.
Yeah.
And Jack Kennedy is not the president of the United States.
I was about to say.
He's a guy from Alabama that wrestles for Yanagase Pro. And he went over there, and it seems like they trained him by the Kubota brothers.
Interesting.
He just works indies. He's listed at like 6'3", 250 pounds. He's got size.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how good he is.
I mean, we'll definitely find out in this match. Yeah.
Yeah. And then main event, or maybe not the main event, but semi-main. Dan Tamura and Hikaru Sato versus Kuroshio Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana. So I think Dan and Sato retain.
I would think so as well, but if we're following through on like maybe Sato is kind of gonna like get less bookings in All Japan, then maybe I could actually, because like if Jiro also just had his character change, right, and if he beats Yuma, then I could also very well see him win the title. Yeah, unless they like lose and then Jiro like turns on Tachibana and they have a match for the Gera title.
And then on June 10th, this is the All Japan Noto charity event in Nanao. And this is a free show. So obviously they're getting sponsored by this. Shitara Shino versus Seigo Tachibana. Jun Saito and Rei Saito versus Hokuto Omori and Kuma Arashi. I mean, I think this card is pretty good, actually. Yuma Anzai, Ryohei Honda, and Rising Hayato versus Kento Miyahara, Yuma Aoyagi, and Musashi. I mean, could be great. And then Suwama, Dan Tamura, and Seki Yoshioka versus Renai Abe, Hideki Suzuki, and Fuminori Abe. So that's actually a nice little card.
Yeah, especially, I mean, for a charity event and everything.
Yeah.
Actually, the one I'm looking forward to the most is Shino versus Tachibana.
Yes. That Could be great. Non-title too.
Mm-hmm. It would be weird to have give Ashino the Gaora title.
Paul, we have a match order
Oh.
for the 29th. And Paul, we have an actress time.
Oh. They collide with Evolution.
It's Marino Saihara and Yui Tensho versus Natsuki Nagisa and Chiyozuki.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to skip that
20
one.
minutes before the show again. So first match is Ashino and Ayabe versus Hokuto and Kuma. The second match is the six-man titles.
Yeah, so that's not going to get a lot of time then.
Yeah. Third match is Darkseid Kuroshio Tokyo Japan versus Yuma Aoyagi. Fourth match is at Junior 8-man tag. It says there's an intermission after the fourth game, break after the fourth game, which is interesting because they don't do those on Korakuen very much anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Fifth match is EC3 versus Honda. Semi-main is the tag titles. And then, of course, the main event.
Yeah.
If they're doing an intermission, can they really do a 60-minute draw?
Yeah, that does make it less likely.
That's just weird because they don't do intermissions in Korakuen.
No, but I had to find that out the hard way.
Which also asks the question is why they're doing it.
For this one specifically?
Maybe they have a big announcement. I could see it. They might be doing a big announcement or something. I don't know.
Billy Corben has bought All Japan. Or Fukuda has bought the NWA. Actually, both of them are equally likely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the show. I think that compared to some other Korakuens this year, this is like relatively stacked card, right? They want to. I mean, this is a Wednesday show, so that could affect the attendance.
I do think they're gonna get above 1,000 though.
Oh yeah, for sure, of course.
Yeah,
they'll get above 1,000 for sure. Will they get to 1,300? I don't know.
That might be a bit more of a struggle, yeah.
But we'll see. So I mean, I still have a pretty optimistic view of where All Japan is going, as long as Anzai can retain the title. Right?
I don't think it's disastrous if Kento wins, but it definitely would be the wrong choice. Let's put it that way.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it's going to be in that for sure. So, Paul, before we head out, anything else you think we needed to cover?
Oh yeah, just a quick. I just looked it up. EC3's drawing record in Korakuen is approximately 1,500 when he went there for TNA Bound for Glory 2014, where he beat Ryo Dahama in 5 minutes.
Wow. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think EC3 is going to... I don't think EC3 is going to get over that well in Japan. Because he doesn't do anything cool.
So. Yeah.
Like, he's got to be a little more athletically gifted, I think. And that ship may have sailed.
Yeah, no, it definitely has.
Standing there and looking intense isn't going to cut it.
No.
Yeah, so.
It barely does in the US.
Yeah. He's got his fans. He's got his fans, as I found out when that was announced. He really does. It's funny. So. Anyway, Paul, do you just want to come back after this show?
Yes. You mean after the Korakuen show? I thought you were talking about the one we're currently recording. I'm like, what are we going to talk about?
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, after the Korakuen show, that does make sense.
Yeah, we should, because I think there'll be. I think that there's probably a lot going to happen on that show, and there might be a few key announcements and everything, so we can record a quick episode since we took a lot of time off between the Carnival finals and everything like that. So for Paul, I'm Gerard, and we'll see you very soon. Cheering at pro wrestling shows in Japan is back, and 2023 is already shaping up to be a big year in the history of pro res. That's why you should listen to the Emerald Flow Show. From the Royal Road to the Green Mat, Paul and Gerard take you into the world of All Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah. Not only do we analyze events, but we examine business, who is getting over, what angles are working or not. Occasionally, we take a look at other Japanese promotions like DDT and 01. So if you're looking for more coverage of the world of Japanese wrestling, check out the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on all of your favorite podcast apps.